Right.
Oh, hi, Dr. Young.
Hi.
Michelle says hi.
Hi, Michelle. How are you doing? This is
Okay,
Dr.
wait.
Robert Young. Hi.
Hi, Dr. Young. Good to see you.
Nice to see you.
Oh,
Yeah, we're just we're going to start a conversation, and we'd love to have you join us if you want to take a minute. But we're going to talk to Matthew and Michelle here. This is Dr. Robert Young, and we're actually recording, so the world can eventually see this. And the reason why I want the world to see this is because I want them to understand that there are other paths that one can walk if they choose to walk that path, which I believe is a lot more secure, a lot safer. And at the end of this path, yes, there is a pot of gold at the end of the rainbow, but there is rewards. Growing up in the world of athletes, my coaches were always telling me, if you want to reach your goals, if you want to become a champion, if you want to become the best at whatever you do, you have to put in the time. It just doesn't happen. I mean, all these folks, all of us that watch some of the greatest athletes in the world say, well, look at him. He was born with this talent. And yes, many of us are given gifts, we're given talents, but we have to use those talents. We can't bury them. We have to show them and express them and improve on that. And that's how we get better. And that was surely true in my life, that the more that I worked out, the more that I practiced, the better my skill set became. And so Matthew and Michelle, maybe you could just individually, whoever wants to go first, just give us a short synopsis of who you are and why are we talking today, so to speak. And I mean, how did we actually meet? And we'll get into your journey here, but just a short introduction, okay?
Well, I was introduced to your work about 20 years ago at a Tony Robbins seminar. So
okay, yeah. Where were you? What was going on? What was he talking about?
He was talking about health and vitality. So after the Tony Robbins seminar, I got your book, Sick and Tired.
Oh, you mean this book right here?
I have 2 copies in my bookshelf.
And you've actually read them, right?
I read it more than once.
Oh, okay, good.
When I read it for the first time, I was about 2 or 3 chapters in, and I said, if this is true, this is revolutionary. The world needs to know about this. My family, I think from my family out, that everyone needs to know about this.
Yeah. And what was the message that Tony was sharing?
That alkalizing was the key to health and vitality.
Mm-hmm. And so tell me, okay, you heard the message. Did you act on it? What did you do?
I'm kind of weird because I act on things immediately. So Tony had the green drinks, had super greens at the seminar, and he was cautioning people to be careful, don't drink too much.
Yeah.
Well, I probably drank 8 or 9 liters a day for the first 3 days.
Yeah. Okay. So I see Michelle's right there off your, I think your left shoulder. Michelle, how are you today?
I'm excellent. Thank you very much, but I was thirsty, so I had to go get
this. How did you run into Matthew? I mean, you two,
at a hair salon.
You two are married, correct? You have a family?
Yes, we're married. Long time.
All right. So, so how many children do you have?
3. We have a 20-year-old boy, 14-year-old daughter, and an almost 9-year-old daughter.
So you started really early having your children, or you're very, very young.
Well, thank you, Dr. Young.
I should say very, very young looking. Because if you have a 20-year-old, that means you're at least probably 40, but you don't even look close to 40. So
I am 51, Dr. Young, but thank you for making my day.
Yeah, Matthew, he actually, I haven't seen him for, I think the last time I saw him was a month or so ago. You came out to Los Angeles for a checkup, but you're looking healthier too. I mean,
yes.
You've actually, I don't know if that's the lights or you actually have a glow.
No, that's real. I mean, it's been a rebirth over the last 6 months.
Yeah. So you and Michelle have been married for how long?
23 years this year, this October.
And you've never had an argument, right?
Oh, never. It's because of the greens.
Right.
Because we drink greens and we're
After
alkaline.
23 years, you still love each other, correct?
Yes, we do.
That's
All right.
true.
So it looks like both of you are following the PH Miracle lifestyle. I don't know. Michelle, did you learn this from Matthew, or did you learn it through Tony Robbins? How did you find out about the PH Miracle?
It's kind of a funny story because I was already a vegetarian, at least for years, and he used to fight me on it, and he wanted to raise Dylan with, he brought in turkey baby food and all those things, and I'm like, no, you're not doing that. We're not giving him that. He went to the Tony Robbins seminar, came off the plane and said, guess what? I'm vegetarian. And this is what we're going to do. And then I was like, oh, yay. And then he told about you and the green drink. And at first there was a few things I was unhappy about. I did not want to give up peanut butter.
Peanut butter? Oh, well, who does?
I know. But then there's the world of almond butter and things that are different. So we started
you have to give up one of these?
Incorporate it into our lives. And he, again, yeah, why do you have one?
I mean,
yeah, I know. That's really sad. Now that you make
the reason I'm showing you this is because we have wildlife all around us, and they love peanuts.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Peanuts are excellent for chipmunks.
Yeah, well, I'm not a chipmunk, so that's why I give it up. But he jumped full throttle in and then kind of pulled me along. But I was happy that he finally eliminated meat and those kinds of things. And then it's just migrated more and more. As soon as I read it, he showed me I can't unlearn it. And I'm not stupid. I'm like, well, dang it, I'm going to have to give up peanut butter now. And then incorporated things. And then life became much easier because we were on the same dietary path, which was one of health and vitality and awesomeness.
You can tell me if this is true for you, but physiologically, anatomically, women are attracted first either to a person's look or to the person's smell.
Ooh.
Now, I don't know if you ever knew this or not, but if a man doesn't smell good, women aren't very attractive to that.
That's true.
I mean, this may be just a kind of a weird question here, but have you noticed that Matthew is smelling different?
Well, I don't really want the answer to that. The more alkaline he is, the better. Yeah, except for when he's going through a purging process, then it's not so good.
Yeah, it's not so good. So women are very, very sensitive to smell. Yeah.
Yes.
But anyway, I don't know if you knew that or not.
I did not know that.
Okay, so so you got on a vegetarian diet, and if you were to define the PH Miracle alkalarian diet, how would you, in the way that you're living it, how would you explain that?
I would explain it as the things that give you the most life, give you the most energy in your body. So that's primarily what you should put into your body. And I completely agree with that. So it went from vegetarian since I was 20 to, okay, now I'm going to eliminate any dairy or any eggs or anything like that. And then it just primarily, it's all the good things in nature that give you energy go into your body, and very little of the other stuff. And at first it might seem like, but all the fun things are going, but it's really not the fun things, because it's the things that make you feel not fun and sick and unhealthy. So to me, the best way to be and feel is vital and energetic. I don't believe we're supposed to be sick and tired as we get older. I think that's a ridiculous myth. I think we're supposed to feel as energetic as a child throughout life, but you can do that by putting good things in and thinking good thoughts and having, great alkaline things to drink and eat too. But I mean, it's just a way of life, and it's just lots and lots and lots of veggies, lots of green drinks and supplementation, good healthy fats. And it's so doable because it also offers you freedom, because I had an eating disorder when I was younger, and food became the enemy. And I was always pulling out of things and restricting myself. And doing this, strangely enough, because some people look at it as a restriction, that liberated me, because I felt so good. And I felt like, well, if I want a cookie, I'm going to have a cookie. But because I felt so good doing the other things, didn't really want the cookie anymore. So it became free for me.
Great. And so the same question for you, Matthew. I mean, what does being an alkalarian, how does that differ from being a vegetarian or a vegan or a raw vegan? How does it differ in your mind?
Well, you can be an unhealthy vegetarian. So
That's
Twinkies
true.
are vegetarian. There's all kinds of processed vegetarian foods that don't contribute energy to your body. So that's a distinction for me that's, predominant.
So both of you then have been following this to a lesser greater degree for what, 20 years?
17, 18 years, and Dylan was about 2 or 3.
Years. So that's how long we've known each other.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you were first introduced to it through Tony Robbins, who I think you're aware that he continues to promote the alkalarian lifestyle and diet and supplementation. And I know, Michelle, you came in with a big bottle. What was in that big bottle?
Chocolate milk. No, just kidding.
Oh, wait a minute. There's Matt.
My bottle's bigger than hers.
Braggart. It is alkaline water from our
Okay, stop there. Alkaline water at what
drops and it's super greens. It's a 10.
We just tested it this morning. It's a 10.
Okay, so alkaline water at 10. What else was in there? We missed that.
Prime pH.
Prime pH.
Okay, and prime pH is, just for those who aren't familiar with prime pH, those are oxygen or reduced oxygen molecules or alkalizing compounds such as potassium hydroxide, sodium bicarbonate, etc. So you put those drops in and that raises the pH of your water, correct?
Correct.
But doesn't it also increase the amount of electrical activity in the water?
Yes.
Okay, good. So you put the prime pH in alkaline water, 10, and what else do you put in there?
Then I put in a big old scoop of the greens, the super greens.
Greens, yeah. So the pH Miracle Greens or the Interlight Greens.
Yes.
Okay, and that's for those who are unaware, that's a concentrate of grasses, vegetables, and fruit that have been dehydrated and pulverized and then run through a very fine mesh to keep out the larger particulates. So you have a very fine, concentrated green powder. So you put 3 scoops in that and then you shake it up?
Then I shake it up and just drink it all day long. I hydrate with that all day long.
So Matthew, how many of those big bottles are you drinking?
3 or 4 every day.
Each one is what, about 1.5 liters?
I think it's a 40-ounce bottle.
Yeah.
Yeah, 1.5 liters. So you're getting in about 6 liters a day.
Well, if you count in the chlorophyll, because I drink a big glass in the morning of chlorophyll and the 4 salts, and I repeat that 2 or 3 times during the day. So yeah, that's how much.
Do you know what the 4 salts are?
They're a combination of alkaline mineral salts.
Yeah, sodium, potassium bicarbonate, calcium, magnesium. Why would you take something like that?
Because they're all alkaline substances that help to balance my body even further.
Okay. So one of the things for those who are listening is that our bodies, just like a car, have waste products. So when the car is running, it produces carbon monoxide. When the body's running, if you have a thought, if you're moving, breathing, so if you're alive, you're producing exhaust, you're producing a waste. That waste can be lactic acid, it could be citric acid, it could be uric acid, but you produce waste. And the stomach, if it's working properly, will actually produce sodium bicarbonate to neutralize those wastes as you try to get rid of them. The 4 salts helps to neutralize acids in the stomach, acids in the small intestine, acids in the blood, acids in the fluids that surround the cells, which are called the interstitial fluids. So when you get up in the morning, do you measure your urine pH to see what it's at?
I don't right now. I have in the past.
And what is that measuring?
I haven't measured it recently, so I'm not sure.
The last time you measured it?
I have no idea,
Yeah.
honestly.
I don't recall. It's been a while.
All right.
I would start every day with the 4 salts with chlorophyll in high pH water. It's the
Yeah.
first thing that hits my stomach.
Okay. So you're doing that for a lot of different reasons. One, you want more energy. One, you want to feel younger, more useful, more energetic.
Definitely more useful.
What's that?
Definitely more useful.
You know,
Most definitely.
when people are on this program, kind of like I mentioned it to Michelle, if they haven't seen you, like a friend or a family member, what is their reaction when they see you now?
Well, considering my medical history in the last year,
We're gonna go into that, but
okay. The reaction is, "Holy shit, you look really good. what are you doing?"
I didn't know there was anything such as holy shit. I mean,
You may need to edit that. That was, it was not.
I'm
That was
not gonna
not
edit it.
real.
I just
Well, you ask me what people say. That's
I've heard the word holy smokes because that refers to the incense, but I've never thought of them using the other
Yeah.
incense for any particular meeting. Anyway, I had to bring that up. I'm sorry, I digressed. But they say you look good, right? Michelle, when a friend sees you or a family member you haven't seen for a little, what do they say to you?
You have not changed at all. That's what they say all the time.
How does that feel?
Feels great, especially the older I get. When I hit 50, I'm like, I don't understand how I'm 50 and now 51 because I don't feel it. I don't feel like I've changed that much, and I'm grateful. And so when my dance students, my younger ones that don't know me that well, say, "Are you 30?" I'm like, "I love you," but no, I'm 51. And then all the kids go,
That's got to be a motivating factor for you.
100%. You're in the mirror all day. You want to make sure that you look nice and good and healthy and fit.
So do you feel hungry or do you feel deprived on this program?
Never,
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 ever.
Never.
never.
I just,
You know, giving up Twinkies and donuts and pastries and coffee and chocolate and all those. But it
No.
wasn't easy.
it
Right?
was easy to give up. Some of those things were easy.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. But, you know, coffee is a really, really big thing.
That was the
That
tough
was my
one for him.
downfall.
That was his, what's it called? Your nemesis.
My Achilles
You know,
heel.
Achilles heel. That was it.
It's not anymore.
Apparently it can really, really, really change your life when you get off this addiction.
It's complete. Yep, a complete change. Because good.
You know, so I mean, we could go on for a long, long time here, but I want to get to, you know, some things that happened to you or something that happened to you. What was it, about a year or so ago?
Last August.
Last August.
Yep.
In fact, from the way you look now to when I saw you, you flew out to Los Angeles. Now it's like night and day. You look alive. In fact, I think in last August, you lost a lot of weight too.
Oh, yeah.
Probably 15 pounds.
Yeah, but that 15 pounds,
Face and belly.
yeah, makes a huge difference. And you were working out too, right? What were you doing?
I was lifting weights. I was still going to the gym, running the treadmill regularly, doing yoga regularly.
Yeah. And then you had some acidic vices. What were those?
I had a healthy cannabis habit, and I had a really healthy coffee habit.
Yeah.
I loved my coffee in a French press. It was I described it as an art form. I got the special beans and grind them and put them in the French press and add matcha and MCT oil. But I realize now it was really, even though I added pH drops to it, it was still a destructive habit.
Yeah. So a year ago, you decided to give those up. Why? Why did you give up smoking pot or drinking whatever, coffee? I mean, probably
a healthy amount of alcohol too.
A little alcohol there too.
Yeah.
A little or a lot?
No, I mean it depends on what you call a lot.
But you were still on what you thought was the alkaline diet, other than you had some acidic vices.
Well, I thought with all these good things, how can these bad things hurt me?
Yeah. Just for the listeners right now, I don't know if you're familiar with the biochemistry of the body, but it takes 20 parts of alkalinity to neutralize 1 part acid to maintain the alkaline design of your body fluids at 7.365. That's a 20-to-1 ratio. So for every acid molecule you eat, let's say it's coming from coffee or alcohol or black tea or from beef, chicken, pork, or fish, or from dairy products, or from pot. When I say pot, I mean the THC specifically, which is an oxidant. It's not an antioxidant. The body has to deal with that. In fact, the way the body does with pot, that's why people become super dehydrated and super thirsty and super fatigued after that, because it totally requires the body's every effort to neutralize or buffer that metabolic acid, which is THC. Here again, coffee has, as we all know, caffeine. Chocolate has theobromine and methylbromine. Meats, beef, chicken, pork, and fish have uric acid, sulfuric acid, phosphoric acid, nitric acid. These are all poisons. They poison the body to a lesser degree. Someone might say, well, what about spinach that has oxalic acid? I mean, we're talking less than 0.1% of oxalic acid, in every leaf of spinach. I mean, it's the alkalinity, it's the chlorophyll. All foods have some level of acidity to it, but it's the level or the concentration of that acidity. So what motivated you then? Because I'm sure Michelle was encouraging you in a loving way, to make some changes, but you had your mind made up. You must have had some serious event happen to you that kind of woke you up,
I had 2 serious events.
Okay.
The first one wasn't enough of a wake-up call. So I was on the phone one day talking to a client, and I could see the words that I wanted to say, but I couldn't form them. And I made a note for myself that, I completely screwed this call up, didn't know what to say, I couldn't get the words out. Went out and told Michelle that this really weird thing happened to me. I was talking to this person, I couldn't talk. I said, I'm going to go lay down and take a nap. Well, I had a stroke.
Wow. And how did you know you had a stroke? I mean, you're not a medical doctor, are you?
No. So I told her I was going to go lay down and take a nap. And
he told me to go off to work. And I was like feeling that something was not right with him. This never happens to him. So I called a friend. It was the first day of my dance classes. My girls came. I put the key under the mat. And as soon as I got to the studio, I said, something doesn't feel right. Can you just go check on Matthew? And when he unlocked the door and had him come down, he just knew he needed to go to the hospital immediately. So he called me, told me, I met him there, and the doctors diagnosed it as a stroke.
Okay, then what? What happened from there?
Well, all the ensuing panic of being all of a sudden thrust into the medical system, and I was in the hospital overnight. They give you all the medications they want you to take, blood thinners and blood pressure medication. I'm like, I don't even have high blood pressure. Well, you have to take it as a precaution. They want you to take cholesterol medication.
Did they give you a diagnosis?
That you had a stroke.
And your artery was.
But how did they verify that you had a stroke, other than just symptomology?
That's a good question.
I think, they did all the stroke assessment tests.
Did they do an ultrasound?
Yes, of your artery.
No, they did a CAT scan of my artery.
Okay, and what did they find?
That my left carotid artery was 99% blocked.
Okay, so you weren't getting enough blood to the brain.
That's true.
Okay, so you had an embolism there. You had a clot.
Yeah.
Okay. Was it on just one side or both sides?
One side.
Well, you'd probably be dead if it was on both sides. Okay. But it's interesting about water if you watch it, and blood is the same way. It always finds a way to go around things. Have you noticed that with rivers and streams?
Sure.
If it comes up against the dam, it tries to go around the dam.
Right.
But you were 99% blocked. You were diagnosed with a stroke by medical professionals who did a PET scan and determined that this was the cause of your symptomology.
That's what they told me.
What else did they tell you?
Uh,
Did they tell you what to do? Did they
Yeah.
tell you what you had to do?
well, their opinion is take these medications and go home, and that's what they do.
What did they recommend? Any surgery?
They couldn't do surgery. They say it was too risky because it was past 70% blocked.
Yeah, they said if it's past 70% block, they wanted to look at it 3 months later or 6 months later, but they assumed they could not do the roto-rooter, whatever it's called, surgery where they go in and kind of blast what's going on in there, but because there's a risk for a brain hemorrhage or death if a chunk breaks off during the surgery.
So did they say to you if you don't take these medications, you'll probably have another stroke and die?
That's correct.
Yeah.
Definitely.
I mean that's their experience, right?
Right,
True.
I mean, so for them, that's their world, and that's probably true.
right.
But your world's a little bit different.
Thankfully.
But the story doesn't end there. What, as far as what did you do now, or what did you?
Doesn't end there. It didn't scare me enough. It chastened me somewhat. But as I recovered and felt better, I decided I could still keep some of those acids in my life. So I corresponded.
Which ones did you keep?
All of them.
All of it.
He did. Don't lie.
No,
He did. He was drinking like a beer a night. He was having his coffee every morning.
Okay.
And starting with the acidic habit of reading 4 or 5 newspapers. I tried to say, how about we start with meditation, or how about we start with something positive, gratitudes. And he was like, this is what I do. I have my coffee. I read the papers for an hour and a half or whatever it is, putting all acid into your brain and into your heart and soul. And then he would have cannabis throughout the day. He cut back, but he was still using, which was a bone of contention a little bit.
Yeah. Okay. So Matthew, you had a stroke. They gave you the medications. I'm not going to really ask you about those right now. You can share whatever you want on that because
I'll tell you. I stopped taking them after a week.
Yeah, but I'm not a medical doctor, just so people know. My background is in nutrition, it's in biochemistry, and it's in naturopathy, so alternative health.
Yeah, sure.
So did I give you any recommendations to go off your medications?
No.
What did I tell you?
Well, you told me to do what I thought was right, and to make a decision that was in my family's best interests.
Yeah, exactly. So that was a decision between you and your spouse, your family, and your doctor, right?
That was his decision.
It was a decision I made. So the medications didn't last like more than a week, I think.
1 week.
And
I stopped taking them.
Who decided that?
I did.
Matthew, why did you decide to go off your medications? I mean, you were told that if you went off your medications, you were going to have a stroke and possibly die. Why would you do that?
I don't believe in them. I'm aware of all the medications over the years that they come out a year later or 2 years later and say, oops, we made a mistake with this one. And it's a long history. You probably are more familiar than I, but it goes back to thalidomide, which they made a big mistake on, and all the cholesterol medications. So I knew that wasn't the way to health.
Plus, you used to be on so many medications for your sinus issues and things, prescription after prescription after prescription, that allergy medication, this one didn't work, we'll try another one. This one worked. And as soon as he became alkaline, funny enough, he didn't need any of those things because the issues were not there anymore.
Well, wait a minute.
Yes, sir.
I thought you were doing this
20 years ago.
20 years ago.
So when I first learned about alkalinism, I had really severe allergies. I was on 3 prescriptions for 10 years.
And so
they were getting good.
So you did something back then, and what happened?
When I went alkaline, the need for those medications disappeared.
Okay, so fast forward now to
Yep.
2000. This is 2019, right?
Right.
Right.
August, you're out of the hospital. You have your medications. 1 week later, for some reason, because I don't know. I mean, maybe you told me. I don't know why you decided to go off your medications. Maybe you could share that with me and with those who are listening. I mean, you mentioned that, you know, from your past experience, but did something else happen?
No, not something. It just my inner belief. When I took them, I felt like I just knew they weren't the way to health. I knew it wasn't gonna give me life.
Okay, so you went on those. What were you doing in trade-off for that? I mean, you were doing.
I went on a liquid diet, all alkaline soups. I mean, I tightened my diet up implicitly, but I left out the mental part, the spiritual part, and I included the acids I was taking, you know, alcohol and cannabis and coffee. And I thought, if I do all this, I can still do this.
Okay, so you were doing the what, 50-50 program or 80-20 or?
In my mind, I was doing the 90-10 program because the little acids, all this alcohol, but you know, 20-1 doesn't stack up.
Yeah, so Michelle's watching this with great concern, I'm sure.
Very much so. Plus, I was making all the soups. I'm like, why am I doing all this if you're doing this? Come on. But I was concerned. I said,
Okay.
you believe all these things.
So Michelle, you were making a soup. What kind of soup were you making?
The two favorites were the Popeye soup and the asparagus from the PH Miracle Cookbook. Those are his favorite.
Okay, so
any type of raw vegetable book.
That's in this one, right?
Yeah, yes.
Okay.
His two favorites became, okay, I know these by heart.
Book is so people know where you're finding these recipes. Okay.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yes,
All
all
right.
of the raw soups were from and a couple other ones I use periodically, but those were the two fastest and those were the two favorites. So I just threw all the raw things in the Vitamix and threw in the avocado and called it a day, and he ate it all day long.
In conjunction with his beer, his coffee.
Correct, yes.
His pot and
yes.
Reading newspapers.
So the dichotomy of that was mind-blowing to me, and I would discuss it with him, but it was that wall. It was the proverbial wall that he did not want to break down because he felt if he was doing all these good things, can I still have this a little bit? And I'm like, no. And he was like, yes.
Okay, so Matthew, you were on the 10-90 plan, the 10% alkalinity and 90% based on the ratios of biochemistry. Okay, but in your mind, you thought you were doing 90-10, but
yeah, I was doing 10-90.
And from her own experience, figured it was the 10-90 plan. So what happened that motivated you, to make additional changes? I mean, you went on like this for how long?
8 weeks.
How many?
8 weeks until I had a second stroke.
You had a second stroke.
Yes.
And usually
second chance at waking up.
You can't, you're paralyzed or you're having difficulty. You went on the 10-90 plan instead of the 90-10.
Why did I have a second stroke? I don't know.
You had a second stroke. Did you end up back in the hospital?
Yes, I'll let Michelle describe that one because it was a lot worse. I'll be right back.
Okay, switching seats here. I'm getting the captain's chair.
All right, there you go.
So the second one, I noticed he was in the bathroom for a while and I said, "Are you okay?" And he said, "Yep." And then I came back about 15, 20 minutes later and he looked at me and he said, "I don't feel well." And I said, "Get up, curl your tongue. Can you do this? Can you do that?" All the things that I was taught to, test him. Can you move your tongue sideways? Can you go up and down? And hi, sweetness. You can come say hi real quick. Okay, but we're doing an interview. This is my little love heart, Shaylee. Say hi, Dr. Young.
Hi.
Hello.
How do you spell your name?
Shaleigh.
Wow. You've probably heard this before. You're a beautiful little girl.
Thank
Take
you.
after your mother or your father or both. A little bit of both, huh? I can see that in both of you. After your mother, that's right.
A little bit of both.
Okay. All right, go back to your floor.
Okay.
Haley, I've got a question for you.
Okay.
Are you proud of your father, your dad?
Very. I'm
And
happy.
and why are you so proud and happy for your dad?
Oh,
Huh?
Why are you proud of your dad?
Or he kept fighting even when he felt like down and like weak. He just kept fighting there, and now he's back to normal.
You
better
love
than
your daddy
normal.
very much. Are you a daddy's girl? Yes.
Both, I would say. Daddy's girl when she wants things, and then crawl into bed with mommy every single night and in the morning.
Yeah.
They have a very beautiful bond. It's very sweet.
Yeah,
And I know we're regressing here, but you also have a big brother, don't you?
I do. I love
Yeah.
him a lot.
Yeah. Where's he?
He is in LA. living
Yeah. So he's going to school, isn't he?
Dance, becoming a dancer.
Yeah.
The School of Life by becoming a dancer.
So you're now in charge because your big brother's gone.
No, we have a 14-year-old Skylar too.
Oh.
She likes to think she's in charge though, for sure.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Well,
Skylar's doing her homework, her schoolwork now too, right?
She's done.
okay. Well, you can stay with us if you want. Go ahead and your mother's sharing a story about your daddy when he went to the hospital.
He was in charge.
The second time, not the first time.
All right, is she coming?
Yes.
Okay. All right, here's Skylar, so you can meet Skylar too.
Okay,
Say
yeah.
Hi.
Oh, hi.
Come over the front so you can see better.
Oh, so you have.
This is Skylar,
So this is your whole family minus
minus Dylan.
minus Dylan, and is Dylan on the program?
He does much better than the average 20-year-old, but not 100% for sure.
I see.
But way better, way better than he did even a year ago.
Yeah, and so you look like a very, very healthy family,
We are.
and you have beautiful smiles,
Thank
and
you.
you have a brightness to you. Your countenance is shines.
Thank
So
you.
I can tell that you must be drinking greens and eating more alkaline. Is that true?
Yeah.
So would you say you're an alkalarian family?
Yeah. Pretty much.
Yeah. So what's your favorite alkaline food?
Broccoli.
Broccoli.
Steamed broccoli for me. Or
Broccoli. Broccoli for you?
Lunch and dinner,
Or
broccoli, right?
mashed cauliflower.
Yeah.
Mashed cauliflower is pretty
I
good.
love that.
Yeah. What about have you had the tomato soups, gazpacho this summer? Have you had any of that?
I'm not a cold soup fan. Even I know I
Okay.
should, but yeah, not
How
so much.
about the spinach soup or the healing soup? I know that your dad, Matthew, had the healing soup.
That was his favorite. Yeah, that's always his
That's the
favorite.
broth.
I'll
Yeah.
show you a receipt.
Well, you're a beautiful example of an alkalarian family,
Thank you.
and you're all very happy and healthy and safe. And what about this COVID thing? Any problems?
Just that they have to dance in a mask if they want to go to dance class.
Yeah, that's
This
just
one won't.
that's just to be politically correct, right?
Yeah, well, apparently they have to, if they want to take class, they have to dance in it. But this one is like, no, I'm not doing it. So I'll take it from home. They go to acting classes and voice classes, but they take them down when they project.
One of the biggest challenges that families have is, and particularly children, is what can we feed our children, or what can a child have for breakfast? Breakfast becomes one of the most difficult meals, is because most children have milk and cereal, like Trix or Cheerios or Captain Crunch. I don't know, Trix. Do you eat any of those?
No. Well, we eat like a healthy, well, not healthy, but like a way better version of Cinnamon Toast Crunch, but it's not Cinnamon Toast Crunch. It's a healthy version.
And how often can you have that though?
Sunday.
Like once a week.
All right, so really quick, and we'll get back to your mom here to describe what's going on or what happened to your father. What is one of the foods that's alkalarian that you eat for breakfast in the morning?
Avocado.
Avocado.
She eats it all day long. She loves avocados.
Yeah.
What's the best thing you like?
Do you have that with peanut butter and jelly, or do you have it with salt?
Salt on toast.
Looks like, yeah, that's good. Okay. Well, I'm sure glad the family could be part of this. Michelle,
Yes.
you and Matthew did great work.
Thank you. We always see the gene pool really, really worked well.
I'm just wondering why you stopped at 3.
Well, we stopped at 2 officially, but then
I
Right.
did until I was
She was the
5 and a
guest
half.
star.
right before I turned 42.
You know what they say about children?
Wow.
They say about children in relationship to their mothers. Children are like a mother's heart running outside of their bodies.
Amen. 100% believe that. 100%
Yeah.
believe that.
And
Yeah.
I'm not saying that I don't love my children,
Different.
but
They
it's
grew in my body.
because I
My
do.
body.
They come from you.
Yeah. Shaylee will say sometimes, because she still likes to migrate into our bed in the middle of the night sometimes or early morning.
Yeah.
And she'll be 9. Don't be embarrassed. She'll be 9 in October, and we still let her. And she says,
Cool.
Mom,
9?
she'll be 9 in October. Yeah.
That's old enough to know better. That's old enough to know between good and evil, right and wrong.
True. Right and wrong, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
She'll say to me, Mom, I grew in your body. I need to be connected to you at night. How am I going to argue that?
Yeah.
You-
Oh, an example of this is that
Say it again?
Hey, I want to show you something. Can I introduce you to my friend?
Of course.
I'm going to turn this so you can see him. Okay. I'm going to do it slowly. Oh, did he leave?
Look at that yard. Beautiful.
His name is Chucky.
And what animal?
Chucky is a squirrel.
Oh, they fed squirrels in Boston. They fed whatever they found
and
in the park, and chipmunks too.
Yeah, so that's why I have these peanuts.
Yep.
Oh.
I don't eat these, but I give them to Chucky and his family.
Not even one.
Chucky has a family. He just ran away. I thought he was going to come and share a little bit with us.
Cute, cute.
Chucky's an alkalarian too, other than he does eat peanuts.
So he's on the 90-10 plan.
No, he's 100% alkalarian. I mean, he eats green foods. He's totally vegan,
That's awesome.
totally alkalarian vegan.
I love it. That's great.
Yeah, but they do love nuts.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, anyway, let's go back
All right. So you guys want to speak
to
back to school?
Michelle. Nice
Yeah.
meeting you two.
Nice meeting you.
See
You
next
too.
time.
Bye-bye. Hope to see you again. Come
Bye.
visit, okay?
We will. When we go visit Dill, we'll go visit Dr. Young too. Next time we
Okay.
go. May.
I would love to see you in person. Bye-bye.
All right. We'll switch seats again. You want to switch seats?
That's okay.
Okay. All right. So I went in and I did the test and he was gray and I said, oh my goodness, you're having a stroke. Let's go. I called my friend. She came to my boss.
I'm
and
sorry, we have to have ramen for lunch. I already
Okay,
told
go away,
Sarah.
go away. So we took him right to the hospital and he was in bad shape. He actually, this time he couldn't even get in the car by himself. His arm all of a sudden was limp. He kind of stumbled down the stairs. I had to open the car door to get him in the car. And we were nervous and took him right to the hospital and definitely laid into him about, oh, you think this is okay? You think this is okay? You think this is okay? Now we're having a second stroke. Probably wasn't the exact timing. I should have been telling him this, but I was mad. I was
Matthew,
mad and I was scared.
Did you hear any of that? Those recommendations coming from your wife? Or were you just totally out of it?
Probably 50-50. I knew what was coming out of the hospital though. When I got there, they were going to ridicule me for not taking the medications. We told you to be back here. Now you're worse. And so I was getting it from all sides. Plus, your own worst critic is inside yourself.
Yeah.
So that was even worse.
All right.
they
So
went-
Michelle,
they-
go ahead.
So they went and they tried to assess him and I spoke as much as I could, but I had to do paperwork. And they did a mini assessment right there and they could tell that he was having one. So they tried to take him in. They took him in and did a major assessment and I did all the paperwork. And what they told us for the first stroke was if you get it within this certain window, they can give you a blood clotting medication. So I said, okay, great. We're catching this right away. They can maybe give you that medication and they can stop the stroke from happening. However, they said they could not give it to him because it was less than 90 days since the first stroke.
I
So
see.
now I'm like, so now what do we do? What can we do? And they took him in, did the assessment, assessed that he had another stroke. And then I met him in the waiting room at that point. A little room where we were waiting for the doctor to come in and assess the situation, said he had another stroke. And at that point, he could barely speak. He could not move his right side of his body together, not too much, very little. He was scared, I was scared, and trying to figure out what to do. And the doctors had recommended that he has is it called thymbectomy? It goes into
Thrombectomy?
Thrombectomy goes into the femoral artery, kind of like a claw, and goes up to the brain to remove the clot.
Mhm. Right.
That's what they had suggested. They had said, and I'm saying, is that necessary? Is it at that point that he was in, the doctor looked and said, he either has possibly the chance to stay like this, or this is really the only thing we can offer as a possibility to help him heal from this. But there is a great risk at it going poorly, and it could cause a hemorrhage or cause a massive stroke. So that was the decision that I had to make at that point in time.
Well, we had to make.
We had to make, but you couldn't even really.
So let's see. What's the saying? Damned if you do and damned
Correct.
if you don't.
Yeah, correct.
So they were wheeling me into the room to do the thrombectomy.
It's all right. Want me to tell? That's okay. So we were and up until now, he couldn't fight. And you know my husband, he's a fighter. When he doesn't want to do something, he will dig his heels in. So as we're going off, he all of a sudden stopped and said, so why am I doing this? It was like the
I
first,
sat up and said, wait, what are we doing?
why am I doing this?
Something came over me.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Someone intervened. And something came over him and he was way more coherent. And the doctor was explaining, this is why you would do this, this is why you wouldn't do this. And I said, I know, but he's actually speaking now. And
My right arm.
he
all of a
was
sudden woke up.
moving and things were different than when we made the decision to do the surgery. So all of a sudden, this man who was going to do the surgery said, if you want another opinion, ask him. And just around this corner, the angel doctor, I like to refer to him as, he does more of them, you should ask his opinion. So I think this doctor was assuming he was going to back him up, but he came in and started talking to Matthew. And I said, he was not doing this a half an hour ago. He was not. Now he's forming sentences. And the doctor said, if it was me, I wouldn't do it. He's moving his legs, he's moving his arms, he's moving things, together, and he's speaking. I would not do the surgery because the risk is too great.
So that's really good to hear.
Yeah, I was
There are
pleased.
doctors that really, really are thoughtful.
Yeah,
And consider this, in a very open way.
yeah,
And then are not afraid to share what they would do if they're in the
Right.
situation, rather than the let's say the typical protocol for that.
Right.
It was more though, because my symptoms shifted within a minute. Like
radical.
someone turned a switch.
So who turned the switch, Matthew?
Yeah, someone higher than me.
Okay. So what was the decision then? What did you decide to do?
You decided not to have
Not to
surgery.
do the surgery.
And so what did you do from there? You went home?
Well, funny story. They wanted him to stay and assess, overnight to keep an eye on him to make sure he didn't have another one. He was starting to fight tooth and nail about that. I want to go home. I want to go home. I want to go home. And I said, I don't want you to come home right now and put the girls in jeopardy of what if you have a third stroke? What if something happens through the night and I have to rally the girls and get them in the car and come to the emergency room? I really would just like you to stay for one night.
Okay.
To make sure everything, if something's going to happen, I want it to happen here, not in our condo, and put the girls through that or see them, or God forbid something worse happen. I just wanted a night. I'm not a traditional medical person, but I wanted the safety of that for one night because that felt safe to me. And I wanted to prevent for the girls just a possible, but we fought for an hour and a half while waiting to get into a room about him coming home. And he was,
Mhm.
Clicked my heels.
he dug in his heels, he clicked his,
No,
he
I
did click
jumped
his
and clicked
heels.
my heels.
They said he would be, he went and told them that he wanted to leave. and it was against orders. I forget what it's called, against
Medical advice.
medical advice, AMR against medical, AMA against medical advice. And he stood up in front of the nurse and did what's called a cabriole and dance. You step, you click both heels, kind of like an Irish step. And he did it, and I've never seen him move like that in his life. So I don't even know where that came from. He's like, look what I can do. And I was like, who are you? But he signed out the AMA. We got in the car, and he was feeling great. And I said, okay, you want to go home? And he had called his friend who was a nurse. He was a big military nurse who I had no family here. So he called him, and he was supposed to come to the hospital. I called him actually and said, can you please come talk some sense into him just for the night? By the time he was able to come, he had already decided to leave. So Terrence met us at our house, and in the car I said to him, you're feeling great? Great. Then you call my mother and tell her that you left, because I can't do it. Because my mother's scared for us, and she's so loving and supportive.
Yeah.
He got on the phone with her. All of a sudden he couldn't speak as well. He wasn't able to do what he did in the hospital. And then I had to take him home in that shape. And we met our friend in the driveway, and he walked in the house. Matthew fell up the stairs 2 or 3 more times. And I had to go pick up the girls at dance, and Terrence said, don't let him get out of bed by himself, just let him, but I think you're gonna go back to the hospital the next morning, which is what happened, because he woke up feeling horrible.
Okay, and what just for timing purposes, we had August, was the first stroke.
Yep.
You know, and then he had another stroke, a second stroke. How many months?
8 weeks exactly.
8 weeks from there. Okay.
8
And
weeks
so
exactly.
now this is 2019, correct?
Correct. Yep. Last October.
Okay, so it's October. Okay. So now we're in October, November, and he's home and in, well, not good shape.
No, not good at all. I was definitely afraid for him. And at that point I said, what am I going to do if he has a third one? If I have to become the primary breadwinner, I have to shift my focus. He many days would get up and try to work for an hour and have to take a nap. And I kept telling him to give himself grace. This is a process. You're going to feel better 3 months from now. You're going to feel better 3 weeks from now. But you have to go through the process. Just if you need to rest, your body's telling you need to rest. So go take a nap and then do it again.
So Matthew, what was Dr. Young telling you?
The same thing. Stay the course.
Yet he would listen to you and not me. I'm like, I'm saying the same thing as this man.
Okay. You'd made up your mind. This was your choice. There wasn't much the hospital could do for you, the doctors. Surgery was
Out of the question.
questionable at the best.
Yeah.
And you'd been influenced and experienced some results 20 years prior to that. And you had made a decision then to what? Now this is after the second stroke. What happened to the coffee? What happened to the pot? What happened to the alcohol? What happened to some of these acidic vices?
Well, this time I was chastened. It only took 2 strokes. So I eliminated the coffee and the alcohol and the pot. And again, I had to go around with the medications though, because you can imagine on the second stroke, they were, you know, again, you have to take these. I still was resistant. This time,
that's your choice, and you should have the right to choose.
Right.
So you
I chose.
you were following your doctor's advice. At the same time, you were following an alkaline lifestyle and diet. And this time, then, as you've described, you eliminated all acidic contributing factors.
That's true.
That you had control over. What about your time on computer and being exposed to radiation?
I got a Q-Link, which is a wearable thing that prevents radiation from the computer from affecting you. By default, though, because I couldn't work as much, I reduced my time in front of the computer significantly.
And your phone.
Yeah.
Significantly.
Yeah. Did you notice a difference from that?
Yes. Yep.
Okay. And you started then drinking the greens, taking your salts, measuring your pH, keeping your urine pH above 7.8. What about exercise? What were you doing during this time? Were you advised to exercise, or were you told just take it easy? What were you doing?
I think after the second stroke, it was kind of
The second stroke,
the rebounder, and that was it.
right? He was just on the Cellerciser for the most part. He was not able to do yoga. His body had limitations that it never had before. He didn't feel as much energy, and I said, just go sit and bounce on that if you have to, or just stand and bounce, or hold onto a wall and bounce. And that was his primary source of exercise for a bit. He had lost a lot of strength in his upper body, so he very rarely, for the first few months, did not go to the gym at all. And then when he went, he tried very little. But we talked about the contribution of lactic acid to what he was trying to do, and saying maybe you should just be doing yoga and bouncing, because those are alkaline routes towards fitness and wellness, as opposed to going and creating more muscle through that aspect of heavy lifting or running or anything like that.
And based on your observations, as far as his speech, as far as his mobility, what was that? Was he 50-50? How was he after he came home from the hospital?
Oh, he was horrible. He was probably at 80% capacity from what he was. His speech slowly improved, but he had things on his phone, apps that he was practicing with. And so that got better and better, thankfully, because that's his work, is speaking on the phone to people. And that got better and better, so much so that, but that took some time. It definitely took some time. His physical capabilities were still greatly diminished over time. They got a little bit better, a little bit better, a little bit better, but he was still at the point, I would say, even in March, April, and May, 5 or 6 months later, I remember saying every month, like, okay, next month you're going to feel better. The month after that, you're going to feel better. You have a little bit more energy. You were up an hour later. You didn't nap today. Those things were all progress, although he couldn't see them because he felt greatly diminished. There were times he wished that it had killed him. And he said that numerous times, probably through April, that he wished he had died and not.
You mean April of 2020?
Yeah.
Yep.
So who did you call when you felt down like that? I mean, you were talking to your wife, and
yeah.
Did you
I called you, thankfully, and I'm so grateful that I had you to call.
Okay. And so you called me. What did I tell you? I can't even remember. Maybe you remember.
I can. It was exactly what I said.
Be patient. Give yourself grace. The body had a major trauma. You had 2 major traumas. It's going to take time.
Oh, good, Matthew.
You shouldn't be going to the gym anyways. Take naps. Take baths.
Yep.
So
stay the course, right?
Stay the course. Exactly.
Yeah. So now we're here today. It's September the 14th, 2020. What is the difference, Michelle, looking at your husband, from August and then October, and then his condition in April and his mental state?
Yeah.
Where is he at right now? I mean, you're watching him, you're living with him.
I feel like he has surpassed, how people say, I just want to go back to there. And I kept telling him, you have to stop comparing yourself to pre-stroke. Like, you can't say, I used to be able to do this, because you used to be able to do that before you had a stroke. Why don't we just work on, this is where I am now, let's progress and move forward. Let's see how far we can go beyond that. But I'm honest to God, telling you at this point in time, he is above where he was pre-stroke in terms of his health and his wellness, his vitality, his mindset, his mood, his glow. He was definitely starting to morph a little bit into the looks of his dad and his brother, and getting jowls and looking tired, and the baggage. And it was not cohesive with the way he ate and the way he supplemented. Yeah. So when he started and he took this massive shift in terms of meditation and being in a state of gratitude, that he cut out the morning papers and cut off the coffee and said, I'm not doing this anymore. And then would wake up, and has been since July, 5 a.m., ready to go, because he's starting his day with positivity and meditation. And I mean, he drinks so many things before I even get out of bed now that, that are all alkaline. He sets them all up at night and gets ready to go. And now I was on a path a year ago to wake up at 5, and he was like, I don't like you getting out of bed that early. And now he's the one that's getting out of bed. I'm like, no, I have to catch up and get back to doing what you're doing. But honestly, his light, his vitality in him, I have not seen this in 10 years.
So what you're saying to me, if I may put it in a correct way, that Matthew is a husband to you in all ways.
Yeah. Oh yes. Yes, that way too.
Post the second stroke.
He was very worried about that. And I had to reassure him that, you know, I still loved him and that wasn't the most important thing.
But that came back with a vengeance.
True.
You must be taking the L-arginine max or something.
I would never believe it would come back like that, but it did.
Yeah, some people refer to it as a natural Viagra.
Oh, for sure. Yeah,
For
for
sure.
sure.
I hope you don't mind me bringing it up that way, because usually after a stroke, things don't work like they used to.
And I anticipated that they would never come back.
I mean, he was really distraught about it. I mean, that's a huge part of any man's masculinity. And he felt like, what if I can't do this? And something that brings such pleasure to him. And he is a pleasure seeker of life for sure. Hence the things he didn't want to give up right before. And then to have that gone too, he felt like a fragment of who he was. I don't get to do this anymore. I don't get to do this. I don't get to, and now I don't get to do that. And that was huge for him.
Okay, so on a scale from 1 to 10, 10 being the best and 1 being the worst, after the stroke, how would you rate his overall health and vitality, energy, sexuality, all of that?
Oh, everything overall, 2 at best.
Okay, and then after the stroke in October, what would you rate him?
Oh, let me go back. I'm sorry. After the first stroke, he recovered rather quickly from that. I mean, he was doing the raw liquid feast, and he was vitality wise, he seemed like, okay, because I remember the day before he went and had the second stroke, he was at the gym and he's like, Michelle, I started running again. I feel great. So he was probably back up energy wise to a 7.
Okay.
And then he had the second stroke and he was at a 2 or 3 at best for a good amount of time.
Okay.
Slowly making progress.
Then in April was kind of a crossroads again, and he was struggling. So what in April? How would you rate from?
I think he was
1 to 10.
I would say because he was able to work longer terms, I would raise it to a 5. But his energy level, his vitality, he still literally would be on. We're not big TV watchers at all, but he would eat dinner, and then he would sit down and just have to watch TV. He had no desire to read. He had no desire to do the things that brought him joy before. He would sit down, watch a Netflix series, and be in bed by 9:30, and then sleep till 7 and wake up exhausted. And that was through June, or probably right into June. He still felt, so I would say a 5 at best.
Okay, so now it's September 14th, 2020, and we're down the road a few more months. Where are we at?
100. On a scale of, I will follow your scale of 10. It was a 10 plus.
10 plus.
Yeah.
That's amazing. You want to see my friend? I think he's here. Hold
Yeah,
on.
We saw him in the background.
I saw him run by.
Oh,
Hey, Chucky.
That's Chucky. Hi, Chucky.
Hi, Chucky. That's so cute.
Yeah,
That's
that's
so
Chucky.
cute.
Yeah,
Hi,
Chucky wants some food, and I think I ran out. But anyway, we'll wait for a minute here, Chucky. I'll be with you in a minute. Anyway, okay. Well, that's wonderful, Matthew. How are you feeling then from that scale? Is that accurate?
1 to 10.
in 11.
See, he doesn't follow rules. You say 10, he says 11.
Yeah. No, that's okay. You're 10 plus, right?
Yes.
11.
Absolutely.
And based on what you've experienced and gone through, and now we're here today, I mean, you've had the love of your family and the support of your family. What other things would you attribute your success too, besides, you know, friends and
Well, I didn't have you to rely on through the dark days.
We probably wouldn't be having this interview.
You really helped me.
yeah.
I'd call you and something about your certainty. I just felt better inside.
Yeah.
You always said, you know, how you live, eat, and think. And what changed after June was I really mastered the thinking part.
Yeah.
So that became more alkaline. And that shift was amazing.
Yeah. And I know your daughter here adores you, and you're happy that your daddy's getting better and healthier and stronger. Yeah.
I really am.
Yeah. That's so wonderful. You know, I mean, we could talk, you know, for longer, but we've now been talking for how long? An hour and 10 minutes, and there's so much more. I know you're on the pH Miracle nutritional protocol and the supplement plan, and you're doing passive exercising, and you're hydrating with greens, and you're on a plant-based green diet, an alkalarian diet. And so the protocol, just for those who are listening, it's outlined in this book, The pH Miracle. And I really wanted, you know, and it's a wonderful gift that your whole family's here sharing together, because this has been, you know, a family, you know, challenge that you've had, and it's in every challenge there's opportunity. And would you say that it's brought your family closer together?
What Skylar just said the other night.
Skylar just said last night, because we went away for 2 weeks in the summer, and we go up north to visit my family in New England, and we came back, he had made the switch. He had made the flip mentally.
Yes.
So in true Matthew form, he was rather intense about everyone jumping on board so he could be in the same exact place as he was. And it's migrated into that, and it's been beautiful because the girls homeschool, I work from home, he works from home. And Skylar, our 14-year-old, just said to us last night, I feel like we've all grown like so much closer together.
Oh, that's so sweet.
I mean, she's 14, you know, she could be at the phase where she's like, I don't want to be near you people.
Yeah.
And the other day she said, we go out in the lanai and we light candles and we talk. And she said the other night, you know, I think I don't even want to go on electronics at night. I think it's messing up with my sleep. I kind of just want to come out here and talk with you guys. I'm like,
Yeah.
okay, that's great. And she definitely feels the closeness of us because we're all on the same path. Daddy's back to feeling healthy and vital. They're laughing. I mean, their relationship with Skylar was scared. So she was apprehensive to even see him after the second stroke. Is he going to look different? Is he going to talk different? Is he going to feel different? And she saw a huge shift in her father. And so now they're joking together, and he's making her laugh on a daily basis, and he's laughing on a daily basis, which
That's
is
good.
Yeah, it's great.
That's wonderful. I want you to see Chucky for a minute. I'm going to go get him some
Yeah,
peanuts.
Shaylee wants to see him.
You want to see? Okay. So
Shaylee
don't go away. I'm just going to run and get some peanuts.
Okay, we'll stay.
Even though I want to make it clear the peanuts are not on the human program, okay?
No peanut butter.
Peanuts are on the on Chucky or the chipmunk program. Hopefully he'll come back. So don't go away, okay? I'll be right back.
All right, we'll stay.
You can visit with each other.
This is the Fieldstone. I love that.
Oh, that's his house. I thought that was like a neighborhood, and he was like.
It's the backyard.
That's gorgeous. What a beautiful
Wait, he
place.
wrote a book?
He wrote many books. All those books that I go to recipes for, and when we talk about Doc Rock and alkalizing and those things, that's all from him. But those are the books that we have in our bookshelf over there. Yeah.
The pH Miracle book she takes out.
All the soups and all those things.
She just made the connection, Dr. Young.
Oh, you made the
No, she made the connection that you're the person that's responsible for those books and for Doc Rock and.
Yeah.
She's like, oh, I get it now.
Well, I'm so happy for your family. I'm hoping that Chucky will come. Now that I've got some peanuts, he kind of disappeared for a minute, but he'll come back. Just because we're waiting for Chucky to make his appearance, Matthew, could you just tell us what a day in your life looks like as it relates to an alkalarian lifestyle. You know, start with when you get up, and then when you go to, and then go through the day. You just describe it simply, you know, and then if that's okay, or we can have Michelle do it. Either way, whatever you feel comfortable.
You mean what I eat?
Yeah, what you eat, what you drink.
I start out at 5 o'clock in the
do.
morning.
And what you do.
What exercises you do, this type of thing. Very, very
Yeah.
succinctly, and you know, just kind of an outline, kind of like the flyover.
All right, I'll give the synopsis. I'm good at the synopsis. He wakes up at 5. He goes and watches something positive, a positive video, usually by Joe Dispenza.
I have a
He has,
liter of
first thing he does is go in and get all the drinks, a liter of chlorophyll or a liter of greens. Well, you tell that part. I'm asleep.
Just so you know,
Okay,
the product's called iJuice Chlorophyll. Yeah.
okay.
Yes.
I have chlorophyll with salts and pH drops and the arginine product.
Okay.
So I have that first. Then I have a liter of greens. We recently got a vibration plate, so I spend about 10 minutes on the vibration plate.
That's a whole body vibrational plate. Yeah. I think if I turn this really slowly, you can see one. This is
Oh, cool. Yeah.
there it is right there. I don't know if you can see the plate or not.
Yep. We can see it.
Yeah. So these whole body vibrational plates, they contract and expand the cells simultaneously. One cycle, kind of like a trampoline. When you hit, it's called G-force. It compresses cells, and then when you come up, it releases it. So toxins can be removed.
Oh, that's cool.
You can compress the cells at 1 time per second or up to 20 times per second. So it mirrors or imitates the process when you're exercising, but it does that while you're standing, compressing, expanding, compressing. So when you lift a weight, your cells compress. When you release it, they release toxins. So this just does it in a passive way.
Yeah.
In a passive way, accelerates that whole healing process of moving acidic waste out of the cells into the interstitium and then out through the lymphatic system, out through the pores of the skin. Most people don't realize that 30%, even up to 50% of your waste from metabolism go out through the pores of the skin. That's why, depending on what you're eating, people have body odors, right?
Yeah.
Those are acidic gases and liquids that are coming out through the pores of the skin. The other goes through urination. Better that way. Oh, guess what? I think Chucky's coming. Here he is. Here he is. Chucky, come here. Come here.
Look, Shay.
Come on. Come on. Here you go. There's Chucky. Can you see Chucky?
Oh, we can see. Oh, he took it. That's so cute. Oh, look at the little hand.
Chucky, here. He wants 2.
Oh, he's like, I'm good with 1. Thank you.
All right.
That's
So
so cute.
you got to meet Chucky, our friend. Okay, so passive exercise. Go ahead.
I spend about 2 to 2.5 hours listening to positive lectures, meditating before I start my day. So I eliminated 4 or 5 papers of negativity. You know, what's going on in the world. I was very concerned with all of that. I dropped it like on one day. I just stopped doing it.
Yep.
So then I start my day with an avocado. I have a liter of greens, and at about 11 o'clock or 12 o'clock, I make a big smoothie. Yeah. You like my shake, don't you?
I hate it's chunky and not smooth, but like thick and gloopy and
That's killing it.
he made his own kale song.
So I have that, like, make a big batch. I have some of it at noon, and I have another glass at 2 in the afternoon. I drink greens all day long. I eliminated any strenuous, like lifting weights to the point of being sore. That was a big part of my routine. I don't do that anymore. I don't want to create acid in my body. In fact, the Monday that I had the second stroke, I had just come from the gym on Sunday and had a hell of a workout. You know, my standards, really pumping weights and running on the treadmill really fast. And I just no longer think that's the best way to exercise.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, contracting the muscles is helpful if you do it in a helpful way.
Yeah.
Because when the muscles contract, they release waste. And that whole muscle contraction also activates the lymphatic system, which are the calf muscles. When your calf muscles contract, lymphatic fluids flow. When lymphatic fluids flow, toxins can go out through the skin, or they can be dumped in the bowels or the bladder, or through the kidneys, and then out through urination. So, and also exercise helps with your respiration, moving. But 10% of acids are only coming out through respiration. A lot of people don't know that. 90% of all waste come out through the bowels, the urine, or through the pores, of which I've already said 30% could be up to 50%, particularly if you're working out and sweating, or if you're doing this infrared sauna.
That's next on the list.
So you do infrared sauna.
No, that's next on the list. I'm going to get that next. So
Okay.
it's the vibration plate.
You got the vibration. So you're building your own ICU unit at home.
Exactly.
Yeah, doing all the things you need to do to keep yourself healthy.
Most importantly, my day ends with, I can't wait to wake up. And it begins with, I'm so glad I'm awake.
So it begins with gratitude and it ends with gratitude.
Yep. And a sense of excitement.
So Michelle, does he tell you that he loves you?
Yes, but probably not enough, I think. He's doing a lot of growth, and I see it, I feel it energetically. It's just different.
Yeah.
And we just discovered this thing the other day. He learned about that you have to hug someone for 6 seconds, and it releases oxytocin, and it makes you want to see them again, or you miss them again. So you have to hug
for longer than 6 seconds.
and you have to pat their back longer than 6 seconds, and then the oxytocin is released, it's the love chemical, and then it makes you miss them more when they're gone, right? So we just go, hug time.
So we're spiritual beings, electrical beings, having a physical experience, and we need contact with each other.
Yes.
We need contact. How do you feel when you're 6 feet away? Do you feel connected?
Yeah, I do. We do.
Yeah.
But more so when we're closer.
You understand why I said 6 feet, right?
Yes, because of the whole thing. Now I do. Agreed.
Social distancing, right?
I think it depends on the person, right?
It disconnects humanity.
I completely agree with that. 100%.
Disconnects.
Yeah.
And the mask hides who we truly are.
Right.
Besides, it helps to retain more metabolic acid, respiratory acids.
Right.
It cannot be eliminated.
Right.
Yeah. Well, it's so wonderful to talk to you. Michelle, did he miss anything that, or did he cover his day pretty good?
Well,
What about supplements? Are you taking any supplements?
yes, he does throughout the day. He'll
Yeah,
take
the
things.
arginine, the chlorophyll, the 4 salts, super greens.
Every once in a while, so he starts his morning, and then throughout the meals, he'll supplement, and then more meals, and then that's pretty much. But I always say to him, like, you are just constantly drinking, and it's like he doesn't even have to swallow. He just and it's gone.
But you probably agree with this. It's not just about the supplements. It's a way of living.
Absolutely, that's a huge component of it now.
And most people don't realize it takes 3 weeks to create a habit, but it takes 3 months to create a lifestyle.
Yes.
So would you say that your lifestyle has been created now, and that you're
Absolutely.
anything else, anything that you would like to share, Michelle and Matthew, about, for people that are having challenges? In your case, it was a very serious challenge, that could help support them from your example and what you've been through, to help support their lifestyle and encouraging them as far as following something like the pH Miracle Alkalarian lifestyle.
When I read Sick and Tired 20 years ago, I had the immediate recognition that it was true. And if I had followed it to the letter from that day on, I would have eliminated these challenges. And of course, I learned a lot. But if you're at the point where you're having challenges, believe in that truth. It will serve you well.
How about you, Michelle? Anything? Last
My parting words.
Yeah.
My parting words are to look at the whole, it as a whole, the entire entity of it. It can't just be the food. It can't just be the supplementation. It can't just be, well, I meditate, but I eat cheeseburgers. I think it has to be this whole component of what does it take to be well, to live your most vital life. It's what we put into our bodies. It's what we read. It's what we serve. We saturate ourselves with. I mean, I remember telling him when I first met him, I cannot watch violent movies because they hurt my soul. I think it's the whole thing. And if you're at a place where you've had a physical challenge or some component of your life is out of whack, you have to look at the whole as like the whole situation is your food, you drink, you're reading, what you surround yourself with, and that will bring you back to that place of vitality.
So it's not just
one part.
So it's not just what you eat, what you drink, and what you breathe.
No.
It's also what you think.
Right. Who you surround yourself with.
It's also what you feel.
Right.
And it's also what you believe.
Absolutely.
So do you have a belief or do you have a sure knowledge about this protocol?
I have a belief and knowledge. I mean, I think we had the belief in the beginning, and then the knowledge that we've learned by continually learning and implementing it into our own bodies and seeing the benefits of it. I mean, we felt the benefits 17 years ago, and it just continually gets better. The older I get, I don't feel any differently. I don't feel like I've aged 17 years since we first learned about this. And that's because it's the whole package. But you have to do the whole package.
Well, I'm so grateful to have this opportunity to speak to you both and to see your family, and also over the years had the opportunity to be of service to you, to help where you felt confident enough to give me a call, and I'm so happy that I had that opportunity to share what my experience is, because people don't know what they don't know, and the reason I'm doing this video is so that people can learn how to take care of their bodies, not just physically, but mentally and also spiritually.
Yeah,
I think it's very, very important. And I know that if you want to know about these things, I know a lot of us out in the world, there's not a lot of financial resources. And so there's a lot of opportunity. If you go to my website at drrobertyoung.com, you can find articles under my scientific blog. And it doesn't cost any money to gain this additional knowledge, because knowledge is power.
Absolutely.
It really is. And the true disease that we're suffering from is the lack of that knowledge. And the treatment is to gain the knowledge on how to really take care of ourselves. So you can access that. The products that, Matthew, you were talking about, you can get more information about the books that we talked about, and also some of the products that you were talking about at phmiracleproducts.com. And so that's a place that you can go. My association with that is strictly advisory. This is not my website, but it's what I advise people to do, and letting them know where are the best supplements, where is the best information. Here again, we try to offer as much of this to the planet. I also want, for those that are watching this, I also want you or encourage you to join us on September 26th, where there'll be a worldwide launch of Thrive 2, because it's not about just surviving, it's about thriving.
Right, absolutely.
And thriving with an alkaline lifestyle and diet, and really understanding the principles of alkalarianism and how it can and how it fits into your lifestyle, and learning about the foods that are harmful and the foods that are helpful, and there's so much more. But on September 26th, we're going to be celebrating Thriving at 1 p.m., where we'll be launching a worldwide Thrive 2, What Can I Do? And there'll be many scientists from around the world that'll be presenting. Dr. Galina Magalko will be presenting her non-invasive, non-radioactive diagnostic tools that's helped so many people worldwide. I'll be presenting this alkaline lifestyle and diet. Another scientist will be presenting physics and life force energy and how to protect ourselves against radiation. So there's lots of information. And the good news I have is if you join us, to be able to link on that, you just go to Thrive One or Thrive2.com, and you can register to watch this or to join us on this celebration of life, celebration of thriving on September 26th at 1 p.m. So I encourage you to take some time and check out that video because it is being offered for a very short period of time. All this information is being offered at no cost. And so we want the world to join us and to come together rather than take off your masks and let's see your face. Let's start hugging each other and bring more love, bring more light.
Yes.
God's healing light back into our lives. So, Michelle, you're an example of that. Matthew, what great courage that you've had, and showing care and listening to your wife and listening to those who care about you, and that you've truly have been on a journey here. And I'm going to say this: a hero's journey.
Thank you.
So proud of you.
Yeah.
So proud of your family and the principles that you're embracing. Truly an example that no success in life can compensate for a failure in the home, and how important it is for us to have a husband and a father and a wife and a mother in a solid foundation, to teach their children. Families are forever, and it's the single unit that is binding society together. And the collapse of the family and the destruction of the family is the destruction of our culture, of our society, of our cities, of our nation, of our country, of our world. Family is the basic unit of society. And I'm so glad to be able to see your family, that you've presented this now, which will be shared around the world, that this is how we bring sanity, because the virus is mass hysteria, is insanity. And with the disease being this lack of knowledge, this ignorance, that we can then have the treatment, and that is common sense and the ability to take the power back, that is our sovereign right to be able to have freedoms, which is our sovereign right to be able to choose for ourselves, rather than being mandated by those for whatever reasons, good, bad, or evil. Our rights, our sovereign rights, need to be protected. And that's what I respect and respected with you. It was your life, it was your body, and it was your choice. And all I can say is, as those that protect the Holy Grail, because what I'm speaking about here is the Holy Grail, for those who are willing to pick up this most humble, not jaded with diamonds, or not beautiful, but the simple, humble chalice to be able to drink from truth that will pour life into your body and light into your body, knowledge into your body. In the words that guard that Holy Grail, choose wisely. And indeed, this is what you have done for yourself, and what Michelle has done for herself, and what you both together have done as a family. So congratulations. God bless you.
Thank you so much.
God bless you individually, but God bless your family, and God bless America.
Thank you.
Thanks for being part of our family
for so long.
You're
Vital
welcome.
Vital part.
Well, thank you for listening, everyone. I hope this will inspire you that there is hope, and with hope, you can have a miracle, even a pH miracle.
Hold on 1 second.
Oh, he left.
He left.
We don't know what's going on here. We have to drum up. We have to pass the time.
Yeah.
What did he do?
Okay.
Oh, I think he's going back to what he hid and then he's getting rid of. Oh, he wants to show you what he didn't take, but he's saving for some odd reason.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, oh, okay, hold on.
This is, so I've been wondering what I was going to do with these things. I saved them from the second trip in the hospital. So I was going to mount it on a plaque, but they don't belong to me.
Well, apparently you're choosing life. It's your life. It's your body and your
Right.
choice. And of course, this should be your God-given right, and it is your God-given right, and we need to protect it. So God
Absolutely.
bless you, Matthew. Congratulations.
Thanks.
Thank you
Stay
so
healthy,
much.
stay alive, stay alkaline.
Yes,
All
and
right.
we will see you
This
soon.
is Dr. Robert Young. Hope to see you and talk to you again very soon.
Bye-bye.
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 Thank you.